Stylish Naija YouTube channel. I want to say thank you to all of my subscribers. I really appreciate you guys a whole lot for subscribing to my YouTube channel. And if you are new to this channel, if this is the first time of you coming across Stylish Naija YouTube channel, please, I would appreciate if you will hit on the subscribe button and then also hit the notification bell to get an update whenever I upload a new video. And you guys could check out all of my social media handles. Like I said some time ago, I recently opened a Pinterest account, so I would appreciate if you guys will go and follow me on Pinterest at Official Stylish Naija, and all other social media platforms, just Stylish Naija. So you could check me out on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. Okay, and today I'm just excited. Today I'm going to be showing you how to cut and sew a floating neckline gown with down ruffles or down frills. So that's what I'm going to show. So you can see the picture. It's a really cheeky gown. So you can see it is just so exciting, the gown. So that's what I'm going to show you how to cut and sew today. It's really simple. You could pull this off even as a beginner. You could actually pull this off. Yes, it's really simple. You could make use of your chiffon fabric. Today I'm going to be mixing my fabric. I'm using a chiffon and then I'll make use of an Ankara also. That's what I'm going to use. So the total amount of fabric that I'm going to use for this project is about 3 yards of fabric. So that's what I'm going to use. So the Ankara I'll use for the top part, and then this soft chiffon I'm going to use for the frills. That's the ruffles at the down part, because I want it to be full. So that's what I'm going to do. So before we continue, I'll be making use of my pattern for this because of the asymmetric and neckline. You could also call it a floating shoulder neckline. So I'm going to use a pattern because it will be easier for me to draft it, so you'll be able to see it clearly. So I have my front bodice and my back bodice already. I'm going to drop the description on the description box in case you don't know how to cut a basic bodice. So this is just like a basic bodice. This is the half part. I had to reduce it, so this was the full one, so I just had to reduce it because I'm dealing with a half bodice for this project. So I'll drop the link in case you don't know how to do that. So let's just get started. The first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to draft out the neckline. So for this project, I'm going to keep the back piece and let's work with the front piece. So for the neckline, if you see from the picture, you find out that the neckline is really not too deep, so and it's really not too wide. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make use of 3 inches for the width. That's for the shoulder width. Just watch what I'm going to do. For those of you that don't know how to do this, I have other videos on how to do this neckline on my channel, floating and shoulder neckline. I've done it on a couple of projects before. You could check it out. So I'm just going to mark 3.5 inches here, and then from here I'm just okay, you could still, let me just mark it from the back since I'm dealing with a pattern. So I mark it like this, and then I'm going to open up my pattern this way. So I've opened up my pattern. The next thing I'm going to do, you are going to choose where you actually want to float your neckline to. Is it to the right or to the left? So I'm going to just place mine like this. I think I'm going to float to the right, to the left side. So you are going to determine how deep you want it to be. This is the center of my pattern, how deep you actually want it to be. So for this project, I think I'm just going to go with about 4 inches. So this is the center, so I'll mark 4 inches, and then from the armhole point, that 4 inches, I'm just going to, from that 4 inches, I'm just going to float it like this to the armpit. If you notice, it's really not going inside. And then here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to curve it now to that 3 inches mark for the neckline that I made. So that's the essence of doing this. If you want it wider, you could do 3.5. So I'm just going to mark it right now so you see it. So you see the neckline. So I floated it already. So the next thing you are going to do before I cut this out, you are going to have to cut it with the back and the front. So you are going to note. So for the back, because of the zipper allowance, I'm just going to fold in my zipper allowance. So I folded in my zipper allowance, and so I already have the line on of the zipper allowance. So that's just the essence. So I'm going to open this up now, like this now. So this is my zipper allowance and mark. So you are going to make sure you're just going to take the other piece, you're going to place them together, make sure that the zipper allowance part is closed, and then you are going to place them together. Make sure they are opened like this before you cut, or else you are going to run into problems. So you see I've opened them up now. The wrong side is facing the wrong side, so I'm going to cut out now. So with this I'm going to get it perfectly well. So I've cut out the neckline now. So this is the back and then this is the front. So this is what I'm going to use to cut out my fabric now. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it out right now. Okay, so you see I finished cutting the front and the back piece. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go and stitch them together on the shoulder line. So I'm going to do that now and then bring it back. I'll join the front shoulder and the back shoulder together, and then join the side seam also. Okay guys, so you see I finished stitching it. So you see the back and then you see the front. So the next thing I'm going to do now, I'm going to add a band to it. So the band that I'm using about 2.5 inches of a band. So I just cut it out straight. So I'm just going to sew it round on it and then bring it onto the zipper allowance part. So the next thing I'm going to do now, I'm going to fix the band. So after fixing the band, we'll come back and cut out the skirt part, and then we're going to shape it the way we're going to fix the ruffles. So for this, for the measurement that I'm actually using is the measurement that I used for the basic bodice. So that's the measurement I'm making use of for this and dress. So you see the measurement there. So I'm going to do that now. I'm just going to fix the band now and then come back and we'll continue the skirts with the skirts and pattern. Okay guys, so I finished and fixing my band. So you could see it's looking so neat and clean. The next thing we're going to do now, we're going to work on the skirt. So I have my skirt and pattern already. So I'm going to show you how to pattern the skirts now, so you could see, because if you take a close look at the skirt part of the dress, you see it has something like a curve like this. It has like a curve like this. So the frills was actually fixed round. So I'm going to show you how to pattern your skirt now to fit that kind of cut. So the next thing you are going to do now, you're going to put into consideration the length of your dress, of your gown. You see my top part of my body is actually 15 inches, so plus the allowance is 15 inches, and the full length is 40 inches. So my skirt pattern, I'm going to make my skirt pattern 20 inches. So you see my skirt pattern is 20 inches. So when you add 20 plus 15, you actually have 35 inches. So the frills that I'm going to cut out now is going to be about 5 inches, but 5 inches is going to be small for me. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to reduce my skirt pattern. I'm going to reduce, instead of cutting my skirt pattern to be 20 inches, I'm going to cut it 15 inches. Then the frills is going to be 10 inches, so to give it that beauty. So that's what I'm going to do now. So for the skirt and pattern, the back and the front is actually cut the same. So just like I explained earlier, you are going to determine, so from the hip part, this is the hip, you notice that cut actually came down from the down part of your hip. So I'm going to come to this point like this. This is the down part of my skirt, so I'll reduce the length now. So this is my 15 inches. So here's what I'm working with. So I'm not working with this down part now. So for this part now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just make something like an arc, like a back flip like this. So I'm just going to freehand it like a back flip. It's going to come like this to the down part. That's this, you see the hip line. So this is like the under part of the hip. So it's just going to come like this, like a down flip. So you add your allowance to it. You add your allowance to enable you stitch. So So just bring your artistic skills to life when doing this kind of pattern. And then this part is going to go like this. So you see what I have is like this, and then it came like this. So that's, I'm going to cut it out now so that you see it. Let it be obvious to you. So include your allowance when doing this. This is like a basque skirt, if I would put it that way, like a basque skirt. But the down part is not as sharp as this, so it's not going to be too sharp. So I'm going to curve it out a little bit. So here's what we are going to have now. So this is what I'm going to cut out. So by the time you arrange your frills on this part, you have that curvy effect. So now I'm going to use this now to cut out both the back and the front. So for the back piece, I'm going to include my zipper allowance. This is actually the back piece, but since I've already used it when I was trying to sketch it out, so I will be able to teach you easily. So I'll use this now to cut out two pieces, one for the front and then one for the back. Okay guys, so you could see, so I've cut out my skirt and pattern. So I'm going to add my dart now. The next thing I'm going to cut out now, I'm going to cut out the flay that I'm going to use for the down part that I'm going to attach. So this is the back piece, I'll keep it on the side, that I'm going to attach on this down part of my skirt. So in cutting this kind of flay, you can decide to do it in two ways. You can decide to put it straight, but you might not get that really curvy effect on it. You can decide to cut it in a flounce form. Do you know the way you would normally cut flounce? You could decide to cut it that way. I have a video of that. I will drop the link on the description box, and then you can cut it in a flay form. So for this, I'm going to cut it in a flay form, and I'm just going to use the free hand. So I'm not going to use the 6.28 method. So I'm just going to fold it, and then I'll show you how to measure it with a free hand, and then we'll cut out the flay. Okay, so I've folded my fabric into 4. Here's what you are going to do, because we're going to pleat it. So the flay that we're going to cut out is going to be excess. We're not going to be cutting the exact flay. So you are going to take your tape, and then you are going to measure around the down part like this. So what I actually have here, I have about 12 inches. That's what I'm going to use to cut. I'm going to cut out 2. This is one piece already, but it's folded into 4. You know, normally if I was going to cut it, let it be equal with what I have here, I'm supposed to cut out 6, because my fabric is folded into 4. I'm actually supposed to cut out, I'm actually supposed to measure out 6 inches for my radius. But because I want to pleat it, I'm going to measure out. I'm going to use this exact 12 inches. I'm going to cut out this one piece now, and then I'm going to cut out a second piece. So with that, I'm going to join them. So when I ruffle them up, it's going to be full for me. So I'm just going to come like this. I'm doing the freehand method. For this, you just have to eyeball it. So you are just, in order for you to make sure it is accurate, you are going to measure from here to here and then measure. Because I've already gotten out my 12 inches. So I'm going to check from this point like this and then check. So if they are the same, so I could cut. So the next thing you are going to check is the length that you want to cut out. You check out the length. So I want 10 inches. So this is about 10 inches. So I'm just going to mark it round now, and then I would cut it out. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to join them together, and then I'm good to go. So you see the shape is looking so beautiful. So by the time you pleat it around, it's going to really form beautifully well. So I'll open it up and then join the other one together to get a long strap, which I'm going to pleat around. So the next thing I'm going to do now, I'm going to go and join my back piece. So I'm going to go and connect the skirt rather to the top part of the bodice, and then I'll come back and show you how we're going to fix the ruffles on it. Okay, so I finished joining the top part of my body. So the next thing I'm going to do now, I'm going to take my ruffle. So this is the back piece, this is the zipper allowance part. So I've opened it up. So I'm going to pleat this now. This is the flare, so I've joined them together. It's long now. I'm just going to pleat it round now. I'll pleat it round and then bring it to this point and then join it, and then I'll show you how it looks like. Okay guys, so welcome back. So you see our dress. I'm just going to pull it like this for you to see. So you see the top part. So this part of my sleeve, I want this part to be a sleeveless sleeve. So this other one, this is a basic sleeve pattern. I'm going to show you how to adapt it to an off shoulder sleeve right now. It's really simple and easy. So in adapting this sleeve to an off shoulder sleeve to fit this point, I'm going to be reducing it by I'm going to reduce 5 inches for it because of the off shoulder drop. So I'm going to measure like this. I'm not going to do up to 5 inches. I'm going to do 4 inches. So this is my 4 inches mark like this. And you know that your normal basic sleeve, the armhole is usually like, okay, what I'm using, not usually, that is not standard, it's usually between 8 and 9. So what I'm using for this is actually 9 inches. So I'm going to eliminate 5 inches from it. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to come to this point. I'm going to measure out 4 inches. So this is like my 4 inches. So from this 4 inches point, I'm just going to make a mark up to this other point like this. So I hope you can see it. So I'm just going to curve it. You can decide to make it straight, so it's not really that curvy. So I'm just going to mark it like this. So this is where I'm going to cut out right now. So I'll cut out this part now. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, this is 5 inches for my armhole. That's my round armhole. So I'm going to add half inches. So from this point now, I'm just going to cut out this point. I'm going to slant out this extra part like this. So this is just like a simple way of doing this. So you can decide to do it, use any method that is easy for you. So here is now what I'm going to fix here like this, and then this part is going to be the off shoulder part that is going to grip on my dress. So this part, I'm going to trim out this part a little bit. So here's what I'm just going to do. Now I'm going to take this and I'm going to place it like this, and then I'm going to trim it to fit into the armhole point. So you see what I have. So I'm going to fix this now. So it's going to be, it's really simple and easy. This is just like a simple method of doing this. So the next thing I'm going to do now, so I'm just going to transfer this into a sleeve and then I'll fix it. This part, like I said, I'm leaving it like this, and then I'll put it on the mannequin for you to see. For the down part, I'm going to use overlock seam to lock out the edges of my chiffon. So that will be like a good way, because if you say you want to start hemming, it's going to take like forever. So it's good for chiffon, just use an overlock. Okay guys, so you can see this is the final look of our gown. So it actually came out beautifully well. So this is the off shoulder and part of the sleeve. So it's just going to stay like this. So when you put it on the armhole, will just balance it up on this side. So you can decide to do any sleeve of your choice. This side I decided to leave it as a round and as a sleeveless. So you could see the back. Okay, so for the back, so you could see the curve. We actually achieved the curve for the back and also the front also. So you can decide to pattern it any way you want to. You can decide to make yours sharper. So at the end of the day, this is our beautiful asymmetric gown with ruffles at the down. So these are the ruffles and the frills. So thank you so much. If you find this video helpful, I would appreciate if you would hit on the like button. If you have not subscribed, you don't have to wait anymore. So please subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much. Bye and God bless you.